Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
J-Mac, last couple of weeks been a little turbulent for your picks.
I went 4-3 last week, but the Alabama game pushed me over the edge. Right. College, yeah.
I've done some over-unders this year because the audience is doing that. I almost did a prop this week on over-under for a receiver. I did an over-under on CeeDee Lamb catches earlier this year. So the reason people say, why don't you just make picks? Because that's not what people are doing anymore. People are doing props. They're doing over-unders. And so I've always said audience drives the bus. I watch the percentage of picks people make. And I've got another over-under. We hit it last week. We told you last week, take the Patriots, Panthers over. And I got another one this week. So you ready to go?
Let's fire away.
Here's my Blazing Five.
That's a hot one. Let's blaze it up. Fire it up. It's Colin's Blazing Five. Raiders at Colts.
I like the Colts at home to win and cover. First of all, they lead the NFL in yards per play. That's a big stat for the wise guys, 6.5. An incredibly efficient offense that scores on 66% of the drives. O-line gives a run game and Daniel Jones plenty of space. In fact, in 2 home starts this year, he's completing 71.5% of his throws. The Raiders are beat up, tied for the most giveaways in the league, 22nd ranked defense. They're now missing their left tackle, Colton Miller, who's their best offensive lineman. So I think right now I get a better O-line significantly, a better consistent run game. I think the Colts are really, really talented. I've been saying this for years. I think they're going to run away now with this division. 28-20, Colts win. It won't feel this close. They win and cover the spread.
Cowboys at Jets.
I like the Jets when the number's +3. 3 of their 4 losses have come in one-score games, and when Justin Fields plays, they average 27 a game and almost 400 yards. The Cowboys are beat up. 17 players on the injured list, a lot of guys in the secondary and the O-line. And it wasn't a good pass-blocking unit when they were healthy. They've allowed 30-plus points, has Dallas in 3 straight games. Probably the worst defense in the league. They're bad on third down. They're bad on the back end, and they're all beat up. And they've also allowed a ton of big plays, and Justin Fields, with those legs, can create those. I think the Jets at home, healthier, win 28-27. Take the points.
Broncos at Eagles.
I'm taking the hook. Denver +3.5 is the side I'm on. Sean Payton ranks 2nd in October win percentage in the Super Bowl era behind only John Madden. Both losses for Denver this year have come on game-winning field goals as time expired. Best team in the league is Denver at getting to the quarterback and protecting the quarterback. Really good offensive line in Denver. And their defense is tied with Seattle. It's only given up 16 a game. I think this roster is outstanding. Eagles have been outgained in all 4 games. Now you got A.J. Brown drama. The offense is 30th ranked. That means the coordinator does not fit. And they're not getting to the quarterback this year. They've only got 5 sacks in 4 games. So this team is kind of not right now working on all cylinders. Maybe if it's a 3-point spread, no, but at 3.5, I'm going to take Denver to win close, low-scoring game, 24-23.
Buccaneers at Seahawks.
I like Seattle here. Second best point differential in the NFL. They're great at home. Second least penalized team. They don't beat themselves. Sam Darnold is having himself a year, and he's not as reckless as he used to be. I can like Baker. Baker, though, has 9 turnover-worthy plays this year. TFF said that's tied for the most in the NFL. And Tampa is in too many close games. They make more mistakes. Also, Tampa's got 16 players on the injured list. So Seattle is healthier. They're at home. They're less penalized. I like them here. Tampa's defense is beat up last couple of weeks, does not feel as dominant. I'm going to take the Seahawks -3 to win and cover 28-23.
Titans at Cardinals.
I like the over 41.5. Neither team pressures the quarterback. So Cam Ward and Kyler are going to have time to operate. Cardinals also coming off extra rest. They're at home where they can be feisty, and I think they're going to win this game potentially by blowout. Listen, the Titans have faced 4 pretty good defenses: Broncos, Rams, Colts, Texans. So this is a little bit of a breather. It won't be as dominant a defense. And again, on rest, Arizona's skill people are outstanding. Defense for the Titans, not great. Don't get to the quarterback. Their defense doesn't do anything particularly well. The over's 41.5. It's a low number. I think we have a blowout on the horizon. Cardinals win at 31-13. Take the over in this game. An interesting game, and we don't think these teams are good. But the Cowboys going to the Jets is interesting. So right now, Dallas is 1-2-1. And if you look at their schedule, yeah, it gets tough in November. But if they beat the Jets, then it's Carolina, home at Washington, Arizona, Las Vegas. It sets the course. If they win this weekend against the Jets, they're 2-2-1. Or they lose and they're 1-3-1, and here comes Jaden Daniels. Eagles are pulling away. Here's Denver's defense. So there's a big difference in the NFL from 2-2-1 and 1-3-1. 2-2-1 is, hey, we are in the mix. 1-3-1 is, should we start selling parts? The trading deadline's coming up. And what's interesting about this game is the Jets have their issues, but when Justin Fields has been on the field, they score about 27 points. So, and the Cowboys have the worst defense probably in the league. It's in a short list. So Dallas is a completely lopsided team, but the fact they don't have CeeDee Lamb and are moving the chains is, once again, you have got to tip your cap to Dak Prescott. Second lower body injury. He's been absolutely fantastic. Dallas has only one way to win. Everybody in the league knows it. The run game's been better than we thought, but they've got one way to win. I like the Jets. Listen, Dallas is on the road. They're 0-2 on the road. Dallas is all banged up, but you got to tip your cap. Dak, I mean, I know the league's pivoted to offense. Dak's been sensational. Their O-line still a little bit in a rebuild. It's good. It's not great. But here's Dak on playing the Jets.
It's important for me to relay to these guys just how important it is for us to go get this game, and how important it is not to look at the records and to understand that every other team wants to beat us, and every other team is going to find a way to hype themselves up a little bit more because it's the Cowboys, and that we've got to make sure we go out there with the right energy and start fast.
Also interesting. So it's really early for this. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But one of the reasons I defended the Cowboys moving off Micah Parsons and getting 2 first-round picks, so they'll now have 4 first-round picks next 2 years. I said they're not a Super Bowl team. This is not a Super Bowl team. And if you look at Philadelphia's roster and the Dallas roster, they're not close. So Dallas needs draft picks. I looked at a mock draft this morning. Right now, Dallas would draft 9th. And they would draft Keldrick Falk, edge Auburn, replacing Micah Parsons for 4 years at a very low cost. Now, is he going to be as good as Micah? I don't know. But generally, your top 10 to 12 picks are guys that start and perform very early. And Dallas has done a good job with their first-round picks. So I went to a mock draft this morning. This is not a Super Bowl team. If you're not a Super Bowl team, that's the time you have opportunities to move great players. Like right now, I would never move Max Crosby if I was the Raiders, but if you ever were going to, now is the time. So just as the mock drafts are coming out, they've got the Cowboys taking an edge rusher to replace Micah at the number 9 pick. And if the Cowboys lose and go sideways, they could have a top 6 picks. And if they have 2 first-round picks, somebody's going to move up and want one of these quarterbacks, whether it's Dante Moore, Carr at Notre Dame, Drew Aller, whoever it is. Bill Belichick assembled a very poor roster. We said that after the first game against TCU. They just don't have any good players. So a coach, a Group 5 head coach, said this. They miscalculated the way they were taking guys in the portal and paying dudes. It made me wonder, did they actually understand the landscape they were in? Did they understand they're in the ACC, not the Conference USA or Sun Belt? Like, we got beat by North Carolina at a bunch of kids. And why the blank is North Carolina beating us on kids? They're recruiting the guys we recruit. And this is a coach in a smaller program in a smaller conference. So Belichick, 73 years old, basically, and I have a theory on this. Number one, to get the best guys in the portal, because Carolina had some money. to get the best guys in the portal, you got to kiss a lot of butt and you got to work much harder. And Bill wasn't up for it. Secondly, a little the Charlie Weiss thing when Bill comes in thinking maybe, schematically, I'm dealing with a bunch of ACC football coaches. We're going to outsmart these guys. And, we're going to build a culture. We don't need to have 5-star guys. I don't know if that's true. But I will tell you one thing that is unequivocally true. And one of the concerns I had when Belichick and Mike Lombardi took it over, I'm like, they're pros. They're pro guys. Charlie Weiss is a pro guy. He's not going to understand. He's not going to have that feel. He's not a butt kisser. It's kind of that New Jersey rough personality, and that's fine. But that's a pro personality. You have to kiss butt. Jimmy Johnson, Jim Harbaugh are those 1 and 2. Pete Carroll, it worked both ways. Pete's got a big personality. Jimmy's got a big personality. And Harbaugh, can really turn it on and off personality-wise. Bill doesn't. And I've said this for years. I remember telling Rex Ryan this one time. I said, dude, you'd be a great college coach. You did well in the NFL. You could do college because Rex can talk the talk. Rex is very verbal, big emotion, good-looking guy, big smile, full of laughs. Rex Ryan would have worked in college, but he wasn't as good as some of the other NFL coaches. And John Gruden, to me, I would hire him in a heartbeat in college football. Gruden, again, personality, can turn on the charm. He could recruit. So Rex Ryan and Gruden were the two guys to me that would always work. Mike Tomlin, I think, is kind of a dude. He'd walk in, the mom would be impressed. The dad would think he's cool to play. I think Mike Tomlin can work at the college level as well. But my theory is not all these guys. Bill Parcells in college, he'd have no time for nonsense. Bill Parcells would spend 5 minutes with one booster and be like, get me out of here. Belichick's not built for college football. He never had any interest in it. I love Urban Meyer. Urban's not a pro coach. I remember talking to Urban about this. And Urban said, I spent my Sundays watching film because I didn't watch NFL football. And it's like there is a sensibility in the NFL. Saban, perfect for college, dominating personality. That's not going to work in pro football. So Bill was always a little cranky and difficult and, distracted, it feels like. And I think a lot of this is, you watch them against TCU and you're like, they don't have enough players. They don't have any speed here. Average quarterback, no big speed, no great pass rushers. And I think some of it is to get those kind of guys, you got to turn on the charm. And Bill doesn't have any interest in that. That's just not who he is. I'm not blaming him. Great legendary coach. I don't think Andy Reid would love college football. Andy wants to sit down and design plays all day long. Sean Payton could put on he could recruit for a little while, but he wants to sit in a room, get the glasses, look at the play sheet, design plays. He's brilliant at it. Payton would be a pretty good recruiter. But, Kyle Shanahan to me is not a college guy. Kyle Shanahan, his dad, those are pro guys. They're pro guys. Not all TV guys can do radio. Not all radio guys can do TV. It's communication, right? It's storytelling, right? Not really. So college and pro is different. I don't think Bill works. I talked to Julian Edelman about the Patriots had this long 7-8 year stretch where they just didn't fumble the ball. You're seeing more of it. Guys are punching the ball out now. Edelman said ball security is job security is what Bill Belichick always preached. What do you do if you got somebody like, they drafted Blake Corum in the 3rd round and it looks like it's not going to work. What do you do as a coach? Sometimes you need a running back, but you don't trust him. What do you do?
Yeah, I think it's a little unfair on the fumble last night on the goal line. I thought that was an unbelievable defensive play. I thought that was really an outstanding defensive play. So that's a little bit tough. We would practice ball security and ball disruption. That's something you actually coach a term called ball disruption, where it's not just forced fumbles, it's interceptions, it's batted balls, it's altered throws, it's all these different things. And we would track it during practice. So we had one of those old school scoreboards that you'd see at like a JV basketball game up on the lift. And in between each period, we could see who was winning in terms of all those different categories, because it was an everyday point of emphasis. And unfortunately, fumbles can come in bunches, and guys can get the equivalent of the yips. Runners sometimes get a little bit like that. Hopefully they recover, and usually they do recover if they don't have a history of ball security problems. But it's the same thing with interceptions. Sometimes they come in bunches. Jacksonville's benefited more than anybody from turnovers this season. So it's a constant point of emphasis, and if it becomes too much of a consistent problem, then you do either have to bench a guy or move on from a guy.
I thought, Kyle Shanahan goes on the road. He's missing 8 to 10 guys. Forget the Hufanga Greenlaw went to Denver. It was going to be hard enough defensively. Now everybody but Fred Warner's hurt. That's incredible. Did you ever go into a game and you're missing 8 starters, and yet you've got to be positive, Eric? You have to sell it to the team. Deep down, you've got concerns. But did you ever have a game like that when you're going in with 8 backups and the team actually rises to the moment knowing everybody has to play a little bit over themselves?
Yeah, and I give Robert Saleh a lot of credit. I think he's doing a great job. And there were those 2 moments in that game last night where they make the play on the goal line, they force the fumble on the goal line, and then they have the 4th and 1 stop. And that is those guys rising up to the moment. And I've had situations like that where you go into a game and you're way behind the 8 ball. We had Troy Brown starting at one corner. We had a free agent cornerback starting at the other corner. We had a linebacker who had to play safety for us just because he was the fastest player we had available. And we ended up winning the game. And sometimes that happens. And sometimes it's because they don't know what they don't know. And there's that component of it. And there's the other component of it, which I think leaked into last night, where human nature takes over. And I would imagine the Rams felt like they were going to beat up on the 49ers just like everybody else did. And when that happens, suddenly you're in a game, and suddenly a team that shouldn't beat you does. And it's affected now Green Bay for 2 weeks in a row, right? They have the tie against Dallas. They lose against the Browns. You're fighting that letdown, that natural human element of we're going to kill them. And then the other team doesn't agree with you and decides to give you a game and ends up winning.
Crazy. So when you have a little bit of an issue with a star player, A.J. Brown, who's been pretty good about it, and Jalen Hurts, who is, he's an adult. He's not going to babysit anybody. He's not going to apologize. They're 4-0. And in this league, that is really all that matters. But when you have a dynamic like that, when a star receiver's not getting the ball, do you let the players just work it out? Do you have to intervene? What do you do with it?
Well, what's hard about the A.J. Brown situation is, remember, he didn't take that book out and read on the sideline until the playoffs last year. Yeah. So that was percolating for a long time. And then even after they won the Super Bowl, he put out that tweet about saying, I thought I'd be more satisfied with it, but I'm not. Now we're in week 4, and he's sending out tweets. Luckily, they have been winning. Otherwise, the heat on this would be turned up that much more than it is right now. And when you look at Philly, it's not like Saquon Barkley is running the ball great to where you could point to, hey, we're having so much success running the ball. That's why we can survive not passing the ball very well. And with AJ, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. It's going to get much worse with the first loss. And when you have players like that, you try to get them involved early. You try to build it into the script where they're the primary read multiple times. So you get them 1 or 2 plays so that it lets a little bit of the pressure out of the pot.
Yeah. So last week, Jackson Dart got a start, and I thought the game plan was very intentional. Okay, we're going to do 6 or 7 plays Jackson's going to run. It's going to take a little bit of the pressure off him. I don't want him throwing 40 times a game. So I thought it was a really smart, intentional game plan. Also, the D-line for the Giants is excellent, and the Chargers were all beat up on the offensive line. It wasn't going to be a shootout. It was going to be a low-scoring game. And I really thought Brian Daboll did a great job. Like, guys, we're just going to keep this game between the 30s. We're going to design 6 to 8 runs. We're going to give him some easy throws. But now it's the second start with no Malik Neighbors, and the Saints can prepare for it with no Malik Neighbors. So in your life as a coach, start 1 is not start 2, is not start 3. We see quarterbacks, Mac Jones, he's out of the league. I mean, or literally he's been benched. Now he's starting in 3-0. What did you take from Jackson Dart? Would you take from it and go, okay, I can build on blank?
Well, you can build on his energy. You can build on his enthusiasm. And between him and Skedibo, they both have that same sort of young, defiant, angry. We're not impressed with the fact that you guys are veterans and we're rookies. We're gonna put our mark on the game. And the Giants organizationally needed an element of that. They got beat down last year. They came out with Russell Wilson, which made complete sense because you don't want to start the rookie right away. But that was a little bit more of the same outside of, the one great game that he had. So to get this sort of burst of energy and also burst of attitude, I think the team desperately needed that. And Brian's not afraid to use Jackson's ability to run the ball. He ran the ball 10 times last game. He only had 13 completions. He'd like to limit the sacks. He had the 5 sacks, but you're gonna try to continue to emphasize the strengths. You're gonna try to also make sure he doesn't put himself in harm's way too much because there's an element of he's not sliding. He's looking for contact, and that's not great for quarterbacks.
So Aaron Rodgers, I have defended Aaron Rodgers 6 times this week. It's a personal record.
Wow, that is a personal record for you.
I know. And, he leaves the country and maybe I don't feel the pressure. I don't know what it is. But I said, you brought him in. He's a smart guy. He's taken a lot of snaps and he's very lowly graded according to like PFF. And my take is, because he's not throwing the ball down the field and they really ding you for that. And my take is not all teams, you should throw the ball down the field. But the first thing I looked for when he got there was, can he and DK Metcalf connect? Clearly it works. They've had multiple back shoulder throws. And I think Aaron, like last week against Minnesota, Eric, I think he watched the game, the first couple of series, and he's like, oh, they can't block us. I don't need to take any risks. They're not moving the ball against us. And I thought it was really smart of Aaron to go, if I have to check down stuff, 20 of 24, I'm not putting us in harm's way. We can just win the field position. We're going to win this game. Your take on he has a low grade, he's not taking risks. I'm watching him, and I'm like, that's exactly what you would do if you had this defense.
Yeah, I think PFF does a great job trying to grade everybody. I do think there are some misses grading wise because they don't know what the assignments are, and that grade for Aaron is not accurate. And when you look at his stats, his completion percentage is the best it's been since his last MVP year. His quarterback rating is the best it's been since that point. I know it's early in the season, but he's doing a lot of good things. And the best thing he's doing for me, Colin, is he's not making it about himself.
That's right.
Aaron Rodgers is not on the marquee. He's happy with being a Steeler, and he's fitting into that culture. And that culture has won for a long time. It hasn't won at the level that they want it to, but he does give them that chance as long as he's willing to be part of it and not have a lot of pushback between him and Arthur Smith. Let that relationship continue to be a positive thing instead of a negative thing. And yeah, I've been impressed not just with the way that Aaron's played, but with the way that Aaron hasn't made it about Aaron.
Yeah, that's part of it. Finally, I don't know if you've noticed, but Belichick is not doing well. And
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. I have always had this theory that certain guys were built, like John Gruden and Rex Ryan would have been good college coaches. They had a good line of BS. They can be funny, telegenic, and that Parcells and Belichick, they're not built for they're not built for college football. The last thing they're pro guys. Charlie Weiss to me was a pro guy. You, as I told you once, why did an AD call me years ago and I said you should hire Mangini. He could work with both. But when I watch Belichick, my take is he's just not a great college fit. It's just not what he is. Everybody thinks NFL guy can work in college. And I'm like, no, Jimmy Johnson had a big personality. And Pete Carroll's got a big personality and big energy. College is its own specific business. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And it's gravitating more towards pro football, but it's not there yet. And he didn't go to a school that one of the marquee schools where you just walk in and you've got the cachet of Alabama or something like that. He has to rebuild it. And I would never describe Bill as a great recruiter by any stretch of the imagination. Like that's not his thing. And as an evaluator, he spent 40 plus years watching college players. He's never evaluated high school players, which is a totally different beast. And even in evaluating college players, that really wasn't his strength. His best strength was evaluating pro players and bringing in free agents and replenishing the team that way. He had a lot more hits than misses there. So the combination of this being something he's not been exposed to, and then having to compete against the guys that are great in someone's living room, it's going to be really hard for him. Then the other part, Colin, you've got to recruit your own guys all season long because they can leave. So it's not like pro football where they're under contract. You can be as harsh as you want to be, and they're there. You better keep them there, the good ones especially, once they're in the building. And I don't know how he's going to do that, and I doubt he's going to do it very well.
I got to ask you one more question. Let's pivot back to San Francisco. Mac Jones is 3-0, and he played great last night. Let's say he goes 4-0. Look at their schedule. Let's say he goes 5-0. How? I mean, seriously. And he's playing at this level with backups. How hard is it to pivot back to Brock Purdy?
Well, judging by the way that he got beat up last night, I don't know if he's going to last till 5-0 because he took some pretty significant hits. It does make it more complicated, but that formula changed dramatically once you paid Brock Purdy all the money that you paid him. Like you can't sit him for Mac Jones. You just can't do it, even if he's 5-0. Now, what you can do is you can give him a lot more time than you would normally give a starter to heal from an injury. And that's sort of a soft way of sitting him and a soft way of continuing to let Mac Jones play without it being the type of thing where, hey, we just gave this guy close to $250 million or whatever the crazy number was, and now we're going to put him on the bench. Be bad business.
Yeah, I mean, Mac was spinning it last night. Kendrick Bourne, you know where Kendrick went to college?
Where's that?
The Harvard of the Palouse, Eastern Washington University.
I've heard great things about that place. And Colin, I hear you're got a little beat down on Toronto going in this next series. I'm taking the Blue Jays. We might have to put dinner on it or something else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dinner.
My brother-in-law is the president of the Blue Jays, so I'm a diehard Blue Jays fan.
Totally understandable.
I am a diehard Blue. Yeah, so we have dinner or you pick something out, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Blue Jays.
Okay, I'll take the Yankees. You got a deal. Great seeing you.
See you, Colin.